characters, incidents, names, and situations used in this story are fictitious. The resemblance to any person living or dead is purely coincidental. The following video contains some horror elements and suitable for a mature audience, 16 plus. This channel and video is not for kids.
Hello friends, I am Aryan and welcome to our channel Midnight Horror Stories, where you get to hear true and scary ghost stories. But before starting the story, all the friends who have come to this channel for the first time, please subscribe to the channel, and if you like the story, then definitely introduce yourself in the comment section. Then let's do not take much time and start our story quickly. Today I have brought a terrible incident in front of you that is going to give you goosebumps. Often, all of you will be coming to other cities, and sometimes you have to leave even in the middle of the night, and especially people working in cities like Metro understand this thing very well. So, there was one such person who was a resident of Agra, but his work was in Delhi and Jaipur. So once he had to go from Jaipur to Delhi in an urgent manner. Now, because it's midnight time, and it's hard to get a bus in the middle of the night. Although he tried to get him to leave by train, he could not get the train due to the delay. When he reached a bus stand, he could not find anything there, so he was caught in a big dilemma there. Then an incident happens to them that they had never even dreamed of. However, the incident that has reached me has not been told to me by the person, because that person could not survive in that incident, because he sacrificed his own life while saving someone else. Sacrificed. But the person whose life he saved told us about this whole incident, and that other person was also wandering like him, and he also got caught in this trap. And this incident is very important for those who travel often at night. And in unknown places, in unknown cities, we do not recognize any bus, train, etc. about the route. So at such a time, if something untoward happens to you, then what to do? And no matter how careful you are about these things, this type of thing is also deceived. It makes you completely delusional, and by the time you come to your senses, the veil of that deception is removed from before your eyes. By then, we have a lot at stake. So something similar happened with these two bands. NH1, which connects the routes of Delhi and Jaipur, a bus stand on the same highway which is located in Sharad. It was deserted on a full moon night. By 9 p.m, the dogs were also barking. But in a short time, those dogs also hid somewhere. Ranjan, a young man from Agra, who had been working in Jaipur for the last 3 months and had stayed there for 2 days in connection with work. But that night he had to leave for Delhi for an urgent work. His friend Avinash had told him that at 8 p.m, a bus left for Delhi. By the way, Avinash had suggested Ranjan to go by train, but by the time Ranjan reached the railway station, he had to go to Delhi. The train had left and it was already night. In such a situation, it was common to find thieves in the passenger train, and for the last few days, the incidents of theft in the station and train had increased considerably. Ranjan, on the other hand, had a lot of cash, so he didn't want to take the risk and decided to take the bus. It also took him some time to reach the bus stand. When he arrived, he found that the bus had also left. He tried to ask people around but could not see anyone there. The station was almost empty. Bus counters were also closed. There was no trace of the passengers. Some dogs were barking, which was creating fear in Ranjan's mind. But the movement of humans had stopped. Ranjan didn't know what to do now. One of his minds was telling him to go back to the station and catch the train to reach Delhi, and the other mind was telling me to wait here for a while. Maybe he will get a bus coming from Jaipur. Ranjan casually stops at the bus stand for 15 to 20 minutes. Then he walks towards the railway station. From Ranjan bus stand, he had walked only about 15 or 20 steps and was looking back again and again to see that maybe an auto driver would come and go to the station. But alas, he did not see any auto driver or rickshaw. Then he decided to walk to the station. There was cash in the bag. That's why Ranjan was afraid at every sound. Whenever he looked around, he could not see anything. Ranjan does not stop for any auto driver but walks away. He was thinking that if he would get an auto or rickshaw as soon as he walked, he would sit in it and go to the station. But maybe his luck wasn't so good. That Igatpuri had come far beyond the bus station. But he did not see a single auto or rickshaw. But yes, on that deserted road, he sees a girl with a handbag in her hand. The girl was also walking on the road as if she was waiting for an auto. Seeing that girl, Ranjan got a courage inside him. Ranjan dared to get close to the girl. Although he was afraid that the girl would be frightened when she would see him, but at that time Ranjan was scared for himself because he had money. At the moment, Ranjan dares to get close to the girl and says, "Hey, listen, madam." The girl looks back. The girl's eyes were brown and her face was as white as milk. Sticking the dupatta around her neck, she looked beautiful. Ranjan looks at her for a moment. Then the next moment, he takes his eyes off her face and says, "Madam, is there no auto or rickshaw running here?" The girl smiled and said, let's go a lot. But I have been walking continuously for the last 15 to 20 minutes. I could not find a single auto or rickshaw, nor did I see any bike or car for a lift. I have to go to the station so that I can go to Delhi. I was waiting for the bus to come. But it turned out that the last bus was at 8 p.m. There is no other bus now. The Igatpuri bus stand is completely empty. The girl mended her hair and said, hey, why are you so upset? You have to go to Delhi by bus? Ranjan says yes. The girl says, I know where to get the bus at this time. Come with me. Now Ranjan was a naive boy. How could he doubt the girl? That's why he follows the girl. The girl was on the side of the road.
Leads Ranjan to a kacha path. That's when a little fear arises in Ranjan's mind. He asks the girl, where are you going? This is the unpaved path. Maybe it's going to the woods somewhere. The girl says, no, I'm taking you to a bus stand. There are some local buses from here which can take you to Delhi. It takes a little more time, but yes, it'll take you to your destination. Ranjan believes the girl and takes a few steps forward with her. Then he sees an old, ruined bus stand where there were some benches lying and a broken tin shed. There was also an old ruined counter with no grill on the window. There were no lights either. Seeing that bus stand, a shiver runs through Ranjan's body. He didn't know why this happened to him. But for a few moments, his breath stops, and Ranjan does not dare to ask anything. The girl tells Ranjan, you sit here, I'll bring a ticket. Saying this, the girl quietly goes to the ticket counter. It's dark on the other side of the ticket counter. Ranjan was sitting at a good distance from the ticket counter. He couldn't see anything inside the counter. However, he was trying unsuccessfully to see if there was anyone inside that counter. But Ranjan does not see anything, and soon the girl also comes to Ranjan and sits on the bench. Ranjan asks the girl, did you take the ticket? The girl says, yes, I have the ticket. You don't worry. Ranjan says, can I see the ticket? That's all Ranjan says, and that's when he hears the horn of the bus. The sound comes, which makes him panic and jumps. The girl handles Ranjan and says, hey, what happened? Why were you afraid? The bus has arrived. Ranjan braces himself and fixes his hair and says, yes, he was a little scared because of the sudden honking. The bus blows the horn and stands right in front of Ranjan and the girl. The girl gestures with a hand so that Ranjan can board the bus. Ranjan looks to his right. He felt a little strange that what a strange bus stand it is. There's no one here. And this girl's courage. Look, at such a deserted bus stand, he came alone with the girl. As soon as Ranjan steps into the bus, he's even more shocked. Apart from the bus conductor and bus driver, no other person was present in the bus. Ranjan's steps were not moving. But then the girl comes behind Ranjan and says, what happened, Ranjan? Why did you stop? Sit on the seat. Ranjan is immediately shocked that how does this girl know my name? I haven't even told him my name yet. Ranjan stares at the girl in surprise. That girl once again smiles and says, what happened? What do you see this way? Sit down, the bus will move. Ranjan quietly sits on a window seat. The girl also sits next to Ranjan. As soon as Ranjan and the girl sit down, she just starts and moves on. Somewhere Ranjan was feeling a little relaxed that let's get the bus now. He was sitting peacefully when suddenly the girl said to Ranjan, Ranjan, close this window. Hearing his name, Ranjan once again shook his head, and this time he asked the girl, listen, did I tell you my name? I think we haven't had any conversation about it. How do you know my name? Then the girl says, you have your name tattooed on your hand. On hearing this, Ranjan immediately looks at his wrists, then he smiles to himself and says, I am also such an idiot. I was frightened unnecessarily. Ranjan asks the girl, well, by the way, what's your name? The girl says, my name is Ruchika. Ranjan asks, and where do you have to go? Ruchika says, with you. On hearing this, Ranjan was strangely... He makes a face and says, with me? The next moment, Ruchika laughs and says, I mean to go to Delhi with you. I have a home in Delhi. Ranjan says, haan, say so. Why is it just so empty? Ruchika says, who goes anywhere so late at night? Only people with important work go out, and this bus runs specially for them. Hearing this, Ranjan again feels strange that this bus runs specially for those who have to go urgent, and people do not even know about this bus. How is this possible? Ranjan Ruchika's point, he tries to peek out the window as he finishes, but then Ruchika says a little angrily, why don't you close this window, Ranjan? Ranjan feels awkward again, but he closes the window. The next moment, Ranjan's eyes go to all the windows of the bus, which were closed. It was a humid day. In such a situation, the closed window started suffocating the bus even more. But what would poor Ranjan do? He didn't want to hurt Ruchika, so sat quietly. Soon Ranjan began to smell a strange burning sensation. Ranjan thinks, it's going to burn. Where is the boo coming from? The windows and doors are all closed. Ranjan says to Ruchika, Ruchika, are you not feeling jealous? Ruchika says, this is very common. Ranjan wonders, is mango? But how so? Someone is burning leather. I look outside. Ranjan was about to open the window when Ruchika stopped him by holding his hand. Hey, what are you doing? Ranjan immediately stands up and says, hey, see what is burning outside. The stench is increasing. Ruchika says, the foul smell will increase even more when the window is opened. Window, there is such a foul smell without opening it. Ranjan sits down upset, puzzled. It all seemed very strange to him now. He knew that something was wrong. Ranjan calms himself for a while so that Ruchika's attention can be diverted from him. Then as soon as Ruchika closes her eyes and leaves down from the seat, Ranjan opens the khidki in one stroke with full agility. Then Ranjan's eyes are torn by the sight he sees outside. Ranjan could see only fire outside the bus. High sparks burst like a firecracker. Was there? Ranjan can't believe his eyes at all. Suddenly, Ranjan feels a hand grip on his shoulder. He feels as if someone is pressing his shoulder hard. As soon as Ranjan looks back, he finds that Ruchika is standing in front of him with a horrible look. Half of Ruchika's face is burnt. The flesh is falling from the burnt skin like wax is falling. When Ranjan's eyes fell around in the bus, he saw a lot of people screaming and all of them were scorched in the fire. They were falling on top of each other as if they were trying to save themselves. Some people were standing at the door of the bus and trying to open the door. Seeing that scene, Ranjan's scream goes out. Ranjan pushes Ruchika and immediately runs towards the door. Suddenly, the conductor of the bus grabs Ranjan's hand. The bus conductor's hand was also
Scorched, and fire was coming out of his hand. As soon as the bus conductor holds Ranjan's hand also starts burning. Seeing this, Ranjan immediately shakes his hand and separates himself from the conductor. But he didn't know what to do with the bus door. How to open, because there were already 2 or 3 people climbing on the door. Then his eyes fall again on Ruchika, who was laughing loudly at Ranjan. It seemed as if Ruchika was not in pain and the whole bus was in pain. Ranjan panicked and says, let me go, open this door, I have to go out. But as helplessly as Ranjan was saying these words, Ruchika was laughing equally loudly. Then the sound of the bus driver's laughing also comes in his ears. And then slowly, the people who were screaming with pain till now start laughing at Ranjan. Ranjan doesn't understand that how did he get out of this bus? Then suddenly, his eyes fall on the window where he was sitting. He dares to go back to his seat and pushes Ruchika aside. Ranjan doesn't see if he will be able to get out of the window properly. But he breaks the window and jumps out of the bus. As soon as he jumps out of the bus, he rolls over and goes to the side of the road. When he sees the bus, he sees that the bus is running at high speed on the scorched road. At the sight of him, he just looked at Ranjan. She goes too far and at one point, she just stops being seen. And Ranjan breathes a sigh of relief. When he looks around, he finds himself in a secluded wooded area. It was not a dense forested area. Yes, there were some trees around. Ranjan did not even know where he had landed. When he looks around, he sees only tall trees. He braces himself and stands up and tries to find a way around. Then suddenly his steps stop because the same ticket was in front of him. There was a counter from where Ruchika bought a ticket to go on the bus. He sees the same bench on which he was sitting a while ago. Ranjan's soul trembles after seeing that place. He starts getting goosebumps. Ranjan is not sure how he came here. Seeing Ruchika, Ranjan quickly hides behind the tree and peeps at Ruchika again and again. Meanwhile, once when Ranjan was looking at Ruchika, his eyes go to the bench. There he sees a young boy who was about his age. A bag slung over his shoulder, he had a mobile phone in his hand. The concern was evident on his face. The boy was taking long puffs of his cigarette. Ranjan sees that once again Ruchika comes smiling to the boy and sits next to him. They start talking to each other. And then Ranjan's eyes fall on a bus coming from a distance. The horn of the bus was blowing in the same way as it had sounded a while ago. Ranjan trembles after hearing that horn. His eyes begin to whiten. It sounded like a death horn was sounding. He stood behind a frightened tree. But soon Ranjan realizes that perhaps the boy sitting on the bench is the next victim of Ruchika and that bus. Ranjan watches the boy very carefully. Then the bus stops in front of Ruchika and the boy. And as soon as Ruchika signals the boy to board the bus, Ranjan comes out shouting and says, "Wait, don't board this bus, stop." The boy looks at Ranjan. The boy was about to step on the bus, but suddenly the step backs. He finds Ranjan very scared. Ranjan also quickly approaches the boy and says, "This girl is not a girl, it's a ghost. And it's just not even there, it's a ghost or a bus. Don't get on this bus or you'll be killed." Ruchika stares angrily at Ranjan, while the boy asks Ranjan, "Who are you and why do you say that?" Ranjan was drenched in sweat. He says nervously, "I'm telling the truth. I just got off this bus. These people would have killed me. It's a burning bus. When you get on this bus, these people will come close to you to kill you. Come, obey me. Don't get on this bus." Then Ruchika angrily says to Ranjan, "What nonsense are you doing? And who are you? Why are you blocking our path? We're getting late. Let us get on the bus." Just then, Ranjan angrily pushes Ruchika away and says how innocent she's becoming. They want to kill us by trapping us. Saying this, Ranjan grabs the boy's hand and starts driving him away from there. The boy didn't understand anything. Why is Ranjan saying these things? Because the boy did not believe in ghosts, and how does it even happen? These incidents are not common with humans, and once they happen, they become alert forever, as happened with Ranjan. As soon as Ranjan runs away from the ticket counter with the boy, the bus also goes ahead, and Ruchika keeps looking at Ranjan and the boy with anger. The boy's name was Kamal. He was running away with Ranjan, but at the same time was asking him questions about where he was driving her away. Ranjan stops when he gets tired and sees that everything around is safe. Lotu. Ranjan asks, "Hey brother, who are you and why are you behaving like this? Aren't you crazy?" Then Ranjan says, "I am Ranjan. I'm not crazy. A very big incident has just happened to me. I'm absolutely right. There's a ghost on the bus you were about to board. It's a haunted bus. That's why I got you out of there. Believe me, you survived too. Otherwise, you could have been much worse." Then Ranjan tells Kamal about the entire incident that happened to him. Kamal is surprised to hear this. But right now, his mind was not ready to accept Ranjan's words. But he was calmly listening to Ranjan. Kamal feels that Ranjan's mental condition is not good. Therefore, it is not appropriate to argue with him. Kamal asks Ranjan, "Then what to do now? Where to go?" Ranjan says, "I see something. Which way can we go on the highway? But let me come light." Saying this, Ranjan goes behind the trees for a minute to doubt, and just Kamal takes advantage of this and slips away from there. Kamal had walked a few steps when suddenly he sees the same bus whose ticket Ruchika had bought. He starts boarding the bus, and just then Ranjan also arrives. He sees Kamal getting into the bus. Ranjan recognizes that bus as well, and once again Ranjan's city pity is lost. He screams, "Wait, hey brother, wait, obey me. Get off that bus, otherwise you will regret it." But Kamal gets on the bus with speed. Ranjan doesn't give up. He also chases the bus with high speed and finally boards the bus. As soon as he boards the bus, he finds that Kamal is in the same seat.
Ranjan himself was sitting on it a while ago, and Ruchika is sitting next to Kamal. Ranjan goes to Kamal and tries to lift him. He was really acting like a maniac. Kamal was repeatedly insisting that he get down from this bus, and this time Kamal gets very angry with his action. He shouts angrily and says, "What's the matter? Why are you bothering me? I don't want to go with you. If you ask me to get down even one more time, I will hand you over to the police. When you eat the air of jail, then all wisdom will come to a halt. I have been watching for a long time. How long have you been following me and harassing me?" Ranjan gets scared to see Kamal talking in a loud voice. Kamal further says, "See, I am telling you now, get off this bus. If you follow me, I am not going to leave you. Let's get down quickly." Seeing Kamal angry, Ranjan calms down. But then Ruchika calms Kamal down and says, "Kamal, why are you angry? Maybe it's someone crazy. Let it sit on the bus. Sit down in peace." Obeying Ruchika, Kamal quietly sits in the bus. Ranjan stood looking at Kamal and Ruchika in astonishment. It is then that Kamal realizes how Ruchika came to know her name, because Kamal had not mentioned his name in their conversation so far. He was thinking about it when he started feeling jealous. Just like Ranjan was coming a while ago, as soon as the foul smell comes, Ranjan is once again shocked and says that you smell something burning. It's coming, isn't it? Kamal says in surprise, "Yes, it is coming. Are you coming too?" Ranjan says, "Yes, but this interest will not be coming to this interest." When Kamal looks at Ruchika in surprise, Ruchika says, "Yes, there is some strange smell. But what are we going on? This smell will disappear in a while." Ranjan says, "Brother, obey me. It's a burning bus. That is why there is such a stench. People are burning on this bus. Gradually, that smell intensifies, so fast that now even breathing was getting heavier. It seemed that the smell of burning was coming from the bus itself, and as soon as Kamal opened the window of the bus to remove that stench, that's when Ruchika took his hand. She stops and says, "What are you doing? If you open it, it will smell even more." Then Ranjan says, "There is nothing like that. This smell is coming because the bus is burning. When you open this window, you will find only fire outside." As soon as Ranjan says this, Ruchika's anger goes out of bounds and she stands up angrily and grabs Ranjan's throat. Gradually, Ruchika's face begins to change. Ranjan gets nervous seeing Ruchika's face. But the poor man couldn't say anything. When Kamal realizes that Ruchika, if she has become too aggressive, he saves Ranjan, and as soon as Kamal sees Ruchika's face, he screams and immediately jumps and falls back. Seeing that burning face of Ruchika, the dripping skin, Kamal couldn't believe his eyes. Then on seeing this, the burning men start standing from the seats of the bus. Now Kamal was convinced that Ranjan's shouting for so long was not wrong. Poor man really wanted to help Kamal. Kamal was regretting his actions. There was fear on his face. He tugged at his hair in anger. Looks like he made a big mistake by not listening to Ranjan. But what does he do now? When his eyes fall on Ranjan, he is close to death. Kamal confronts Ruchika and rescues Ranjan from Ruchika. Kamal panicked and says, "What should we do now? How to get off this bus?" Ranjan says, "It is very difficult to get out of this bus. Can't you see? There are people standing at the door. There are sticks stacked one on top of each other. It won't let us go out." Kamal asked, "Then how did you get out last time?" Ranjan says, "I came out of this window, but it is not easy to get out of this window. This time, there are burnt men too. If you go to that seat, maybe they will burn us to ashes with them." Here the burnt men were screaming violently as if in pain. That is why Ranjan and Kamal were looking for a way out. But the next moment, the bus conductor comes to Ranjan and asks him to show the ticket. Seeing the dangerous face of the bus conductor, both Kamal and Ranjan get nervous. Their feet begin to tremble. Those people don't understand how to get out of here. But then Kamal dares to go to the seat from where Ranjan was asking to escape. But there were already two burning men standing there. Kamal takes out a seat from the bus and starts hitting the burning man from that seat. As soon as the two men step back, Kamal calls out to Ranjan and says, "Ranjan, follow me." On the other hand, Ranjan was caught by the bus conductor. Once again, there were wounds on Ranjan's hands, but he somehow manages to get himself rid of the bus conductor and quickly recovers from him. He tries to get out of the window. Kamal goes out, but as soon as Ranjan is about to come out, just then Ruchika grabs Ranjan's leg and pulls him inside the bus. Kamal shouts Ranjan's name lying on the roadside and watches the bus go away from his eyes. Kamal starts crying badly. He was cursing himself as to why he did not listen to Ranjan. He was regretting that Ranjan had to risk his life in order to save him. No one is visible far and wide. There was silence all around. Kamal was completely unaware of the path on which he was standing. He didn't know the direction or the time. Kamal walks a few steps here and there, but he is not able to choose the right path. His brain had stopped working. He then puts his hands in his pockets to take out his phone, but he sees that his phone is not in his pocket. The phone may have fallen somewhere on the bus. Kamal was very frustrated. He hadn't found the phone when he put his hand in his pocket, but yes, his cigarettes and lighters were definitely available. Kamal tries to relieve his tension by smoking a cigarette but fails. Then he leaves everything to God and starts walking on a straight path. There was darkness everywhere. Kamal was moving ahead with a guess. Then a noise rings in his ears. It seemed as if there was a crowd of people and they were making a noise. Kamal listens very carefully to the sound of that noise. Where is this voice coming from? Then he realizes that the voice is coming from the same direction he is going. Kamal feels a little relieved.
It seems that maybe now he will reach among the people. That is why Kamal quickens his pace and then reaches a place where 8 to 10 people had sticks and swords in their hands and they were looking for someone while making noise around. When Kamal chases them, he reaches a bus stand where there was a crowd of people. The hooligans could not reach the bus stand as they were scattering around looking for someone. This bus stand was very similar to the bus stand from where Ruchika bought the ticket. It was. But then there was no one other than Ruchika and Kamal at that bus stand, and now there were a lot of people here. When Kamal sees those people, his life comes back to life. He narrates the incident to a man present there. The man was selling peanuts. Kamal goes to him and says nervously, "Listen, the peanut wala was making a loud noise." But as soon as Kamal calls out to that peanut wala, the peanut wala mysteriously looks at Kamal. Kamal says, "I need your help." Peanut's looking into the lotus's eyes. He says, "What help?" When asked by the peanut vendor, Kamal starts telling him his story. The peanut vendor stood absolutely lifeless. It didn't seem that he was even a little surprised or upset to hear Kamal's story. It seemed that the peanut man had no feelings at all. When Kamal tells all his story, he waits for the peanut man's response, but as if there was no effect on the peanut wala. He picks up his crate and quietly walks away. Kamal finds it quite strange. Kamal looks at the people around him. There was a line of 8 to 10 people at the ticket counter. Some people were sitting around a bench with their belongings on the bench. But one thing Kamal finds very strange at that bus stand is that there was no bus standing there. Kamal was trying to understand the current situation there when he saw that the people who were roaming on the way with sticks and swords in their hands have come to the bus stand. And as soon as they come, they start pushing the people standing at the ticket counter. They were asking the same question over and over again. "Tell me where that girl is. Who saw him?" Which girl were they asking about? Kamal did not know about this yet. But seeing those goons, the people present there get scared. They were running away for their lives when they started beating people with goons. In a short time, the crowd at the bus stand decreases. There are some people who were lying injured and perhaps there was no one to save them. Meanwhile, Kamal had also hidden under a bench and was watching the whole scene from there. Then the sound of a goon comes in his ears. "Where is that Ruchika? Find her. She must be hiding right here at this bus stand. If you don't find him, set fire to this bus stand. No one should go alive." On hearing this, the soul trembles like a lotus. He goes into deep shock. If he got off the bench, he feared that the goons would kill him, and if that was the case, he might come under fire. He was remembering God in his mind and was waiting for the goons to leave. Then Kamal's eyes fall on a scene that Kamal starts to feel pain. His heart begins to tremble. Lotus's eyes in front of me was a young man with a dark complexion but a strong body. Some goons are killing the boy by making him lie on the ground. As soon as the boy tried to stand up, a new goon would catch him and drop him to the ground again. Some were hitting with sticks and some were crushing with their feet. It seemed that the goon was the enemy of that boy. Just then a voice comes in Kamal's ears which was very familiar. That was Ruchika's voice. Ruchika comes screaming, "Don't stop, stop, stop. Leave Nikhil alone. Don't do anything to him. It's not his fault. That news, I was the one who printed it. Let Nikhil go." Kamal is shocked when he sees Ruchika's face. He can't believe his eyes, but soon realizes that everything that is happening in front of him is a past, is a hoax. All this is not true, because he had become aware that Ruchika was dead. Her body is burnt. This bus stand is also the same bus stand from where Ruchika had bought the ticket. Now this bus stand is inhabited. All this could not have happened so quickly and so easily. That is why Kamal is convinced of this, that all this is part of a past in front of him. On seeing Ruchika, the goons leave the young man Nikhil and attack Ruchika directly. Two goons hold Ruchika's hand and twist her backwards, which makes Ruchika scream. But just as she screams, a third goon goes and starts slapping Ruchika in the face. He says, "You have the guts to publish news against our leader. You don't know who you've messed up with yet. You have published their news and feasted death for yourselves. We'll do what you ever dreamt of. You wouldn't have thought about it also. Your death will be a lesson to Netaji's enemies." Then Ruchika laughs and says, "It is not you. It is your Netaji's fear speaking. That is why you're thinking of making my death a lesson for people. But remember, I have stolen the spark that will now turn directly into fire and also remove the fear of your leader from the minds of the people." That goon says, "We'll never let this happen." And saying this, he stabs Ruchika several times on the stomach with his big sword. Kamal's eyes are torn apart when he kills Ruchika in front of him. He watches as it happens. All the people present there who were lying injured had seen Ruchika being murdered. The ticket cutter sitting at the window of the bus counter was also frightened by Ruchika's death. But as soon as the goons catch sight of every person present there, he orders his colleagues, "Burn this bus stand. Not a single human being should be saved." After saying this, the goon goes away from there. But his colleagues sprinkle kerosene everywhere. Here the young Nikhil was almost standing up and was going to Ruchika. Ruchika was writhing in pain. She was slowly getting closer to death. At the same time, there is a bus which used to go to Delhi and used to run even after 8 o'clock. As soon as Nikhil sees the bus conductor asks Nikhil for help. The bus conductor and driver are also terrified to see the current situation there. The bus conductor and Nikhil see the goons spraying kerosene everywhere. The bus conductor says we should call police, but then Nikhil says we don't have that much time. By the time the police come here, these people will destroy this place. Get us out of here. My friend is lying there. She's also swinging between life and death. You put all of us on your bus and take us to the hospital. Anyway, the police have been sold out to these goons. Hardly anyone will help us.
Hearing Nikhil's words, the bus conductor agrees to help Nikhil. He, along with Nikhil, board Ruchika and some injured people in the bus, but by the time the goons have set fire to the area, but still the bus conductor, driver and Nikhil can board as many people as they can in the bus.
When the driver feels that it is not right to board this bus, and the fire is also spreading rapidly, so he starts his bus. But then some goons present there catch sight of Nikhil. They see Nikhil escaping alive, and that's when the goons raise an alarm and gather all his accomplices. Hey, what's up there? Look at this. This Nikhil is running away after saving people. If even one survives from here, we can be caught. Don't leave a single piece of evidence. Burn this bus too. On hearing this, all the goons chased that bus. Let's catch up. The poor bus driver was trying to start his bus, but at the same time, the goons sprinkled kerosene on the bus. Nikhil was constantly telling the bus driver, "Bhaiya, hurry up, drive quickly, they are pouring kerosene on our bus." And as soon as the bus starts, the goons set fire to that bus too. By the time the bus picks up speed, the fire also catches the bus like smoke. It was dark at night. The burning bus moved away from Kamal's eyes. Then gradually everything became blurry. It's like everything was blown away in the smoke of the fire. Gone. The lotus that was still hidden under the bench, he is shocked when he sees the surrounding scene and quickly walks out from under the bench. There was an awkward silence all around. The silence was very deep. There was no one there to say, but every second there was a sound as if someone was coming. Kamal could hear a sound in his ears every moment. But when Kamal listens intently to that sound and tries to see who is there, he does not see anyone. Kamal was caught in a loop that he had never even dreamed of, and he didn't even know how long he would be stuck in this loop and how he would get out. Defeated, Kamal sits on the bench. He hid his mouth with his hands and was just wondering how this time would be accomplished. Suddenly, someone puts a hand on his shoulder. Kamal jumps up and looks at the person and finds that it is Ranjan. The next moment, a smile comes on Kamal's face. He says, "Ranjan, you're fine. I was scared of how you got off the bus." Ranjan does not respond to Kamal's point, but on seeing this, Ranjan's body starts scorching, like someone is scorching the paper without a flame. On seeing this, Kamal once again gets nervous and starts moving away from Ranjan. But Ranjan slowly comes close to Kamal and tells him, "Run away from here. Go away. She's just going to come again." Kamal's face was getting disfigured with fear. Hearing Ranjan's words, Kamal starts running on the opposite foot. But when he returns, he comes to the same bus stand. Kamal gets very upset with all this. Then suddenly he sees Ruchika at the ticket counter. Kamal gets scared seeing Ruchika. He stood far away. And this time, suddenly Ruchika also smiles at Kamal. She shows the bus ticket to Kamal from a distance and gestures to call Kamal to her. But Kamal doesn't come. Kamal had understood that it was useless for him to escape. No matter how much he participates, he will come back to this bus stand. He keeps watching Ruchika from a distance. Ruchika quietly sits on the bench. It's like waiting for a bus. Suddenly a voice echoed in Fiza. "Kamal, it's getting late. The bus will leave. Come here." That voice was Ruchika's. But Kamal doesn't listen to Ruchika. That one hides behind a wall so that Ruchika can't see him. But Kamal was very naive. He did not know that Ruchika was a spirit, a ghost. It's not easy to hide from him. Kamal was standing behind the wall with bated breath when suddenly he heard Ruchika's voice, which came from very close range. "How long will you hide? You have to go with me." As soon as Kamal looked to his right and shouted, Ruchika was once again standing in front of him with a terrible face. Kamal started running away from there, but as he ran outside, some burning men started moving towards him. Kamal had fallen from every side. Everyone was insisting on taking him with them, and just then, the bus arrives with the sound of a horn. The condition of the bus was absolutely fine. Kamal sees no other way, that's why he panics and gets on that bus. As soon as Kamal boards the bus, he finds that there are a lot of passengers sitting in it, which is absolutely fine. Seeing this, Kamal feels a little better. He feels that this bus is probably a real bus, and this bus will not cause any harm to him. But it wasn't. Kamal calmly grabs a seat and relaxes. He closes his eyes with a reclining position. Then he starts hearing the sound of people screaming, which opens his eyes completely. That's when he sees a lot of burnt men around him who were standing around him. Kamal screams and gets up by pushing everyone up with courage. In all this, his hand also gets scorched, but he still tries to get out of the bus. Kamal tries very hard to open the door of the bus, but the door doesn't open. Then Kamal's eyes fall on the seat next to the door. There she sees the same bus ticket that Ruchika had purchased. There was a fire burning in that seat of the bus too. But the surprising thing was that the ticket was not running. Kamal is quite surprised to see this. Kamal picks up those tickets and tries to put them in the fire, but still that ticket doesn't burn. Don't know what comes to Kamal's mind. He thinks that if he burns this ticket, then maybe it will all stop here. and that's why he takes out a lighter from his pocket and burns those 2 tickets. As soon as that ticket starts burning, the speed of the bus starts reducing. There was a fire burning in the bus. Gradually it starts to decrease. As soon as Kamal sees that the speed of the bus has reduced, he tries to open the door of the bus again, and this time the door of the bus opens. He couldn't believe his luck. He jumps down from the moving bus, but this time as soon as Kamal jumps down, he sees Ranjan's burnt body. Kamal cries for a long time after seeing Ranjan's corpse. When the day slowly starts to pass, Kamal takes care of himself and goes out to help the people. In a short time, he reaches the main road. As soon as he sees some people there, he tells them his ordeal. Some people do not believe his words, but one of those people was Bajnath. When he hears Kamal's story, he believes in Kamal. At the same time, he also tells him that yes, a burning bus runs on this deserted road every night. About 30 years ago, a girl named Ruchika was a social worker. Together with her colleagues, she was fighting against the leader Vishal. The leader was very corrupt. Not only Vishal's political career is in jeopardy due to Ruchika, in fact, people had also started boycotting him. And to avenge this, he had killed Ruchika and her associates with his goons. And in this conspiracy, those people who were present at the bus stand at that time were also killed. Overnight, the bus stand was burnt to ashes. But yes, Vishal had to leave his chair.
This incident. Later, the other government tried to rebuild this bus stand. But when the laborers came to work here, strange incidents started happening with them. They began to see burnt men. As evening falls, there was the sound of crying and screaming. Some people saw the burning bus. Perhaps you're a lucky enough person to survive the wrath of that bus. Kamal was indeed a lucky man. Unfortunate was poor Ranjan, who had gone to help Kamal. Kamal regrets Ranjan's death. If only he had accepted Ranjan's suggestion earlier, then perhaps both of them would have been alive today. And friends, why Kamal? Often we all have the same mentality as the lotus. We believe that there is no such thing as ghosts. So why we believe in these things? Why? If only Kamal had accepted that Ranjan's point of view. At first, however, Ranjan wasn't sure about anything. But when he saw what happened to him in that haunted bus with himself, his goosebumps were completely shaken. The fear he had not felt until today, the fear he always denied. At the same time, the fear came true in front of him. And this is what he tried to explain to Kamal. And due to Kamal's lack of understanding, Ranjan is not in this world today. And Kamal also has a lot of regret about this. And this whole story was told to me by Kamal, shared. So if you ever have such a situation and someone is giving you the right advice, then think with a cool mind before ignoring his words. Maybe there's an advantage to you somewhere. So I hope you like this story. So friends, this was our story today. How did you like the story? Please do tell me by commenting in the comment box. And also, those who haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe to the channel. Take care of yourself and your family. I will meet you soon with a new story. Thank you.